Hey guys, this is Jax, and today I'm going to be talking about the Not So Minor Aspects series, and in particular we're going to be looking at the octile, also known as the semi-square. The octile is a 45-degree angle, and it's of course the halfway point to the square. The semi-square, it tends to be on the spectrum of the challenge aspects, and the reason it's challenging is because this is a point at which we are going to be restricting our own freedom internally and making choices that take us out of the endless buffet of options that we have of all potentialities and all things we could choose, and instead we start to narrow ourselves down internally. We know that we have to, of course, at this point, because when we get to the square, the 90-degree angle, this is where things are going to be in the external argued with us or argued against us, or basically that we are going to have to meet a certain specification in order to overcome whatever that particular challenge ends up being, whether it's a conversation or whether it's a requirement or a test or something along these lines. So the thing is, before the semi-square, we reach the novile, and this is the point at which our own identity and who we are starts to align with the actions that we're taking. There's still, of course, this feeling of, we're on a new journey. After the conjunction, we started a new project, or we started heading towards a new goal. And we started heading towards it, and at about the novile state, the 40-degree state, this is when we start to feel as though these actions I'm taking are proving that I am moving towards this particular goal. And there's a level of kind of optimism and delight that happens there. But as soon as we get to the 45-degree state and we hit the octile, this is when we start to realize, you know what, I really have to buckle down in this area to be in a state of preparedness. I have to basically start getting ready for something that the world is not going to challenge me to do yet. I'm not even technically close to the challenge itself. I'm just at a place where I know that I need to do this for myself if I really am going to honestly suggest that I'm actually heading towards the goal that I claim to be heading towards. And so when we head towards goals and we refuse to commit at that point of the novile and the semi-square, and we refuse to acknowledge that we are going to have to be our own boss in order to make this challenge or this goal happen, then of course it makes the 90-degree, the square, incredibly rough to deal with if we refuse to make that commitment. So at the 45-degree angle, this is where we're going to choose to commit ourselves before the world essentially does it for us, and or proves to us that we weren't committed, and then that challenge aspect ends up being a defeat, or it ends up being a loss. So where we hit the 45-degree angle of the octile, we're halfway to the square. And what happens in this process, first we hit the novile 40 degrees, we start to recognize the way in which our identity and the actions we're taking are becoming one. We're starting to become the path that we're living by. Our life starts to be the actions that we're taking in pursuit of an ideal or a goal. And so when we hit this semi-square, sometimes there will be the desire to almost rush right to the end, or basically rush at least to the very first confrontation, or to kind of get it out of the way, to hurry it up. And so the important thing with the semi-square, especially it being one of, definitely on the spectrum of the challenge aspects, is the semi-square. We have to give ourselves the restrictions that we know deep down are going to come up at the 90-degree angle. We have to almost have that argument with ourselves. We have to become a Saturnian figure for ourselves and put ourselves in that particular box. So for example, you might have Mars octiling your natal moon, and there might be this desire to, you start feeling the restlessness, you feel this emotional volatility. And there might be part of you that understands, I probably do need to adopt these particular habits or this way of being in order to, sort of like ameliorate this, this difficulty that I'm going through. But at the same time, you can't rush that. You can't skip right to the end. Like, okay, I'll just go do this then, and then it's over. It's like, it's not over. It's not going to be over because you're not even at the hard part yet. No matter how much it might feel like the hard part or the difficulty, you still have a lot more of the journey to take, or you're about to end a journey that you've previously started a long time ago. So no matter what phase you're in, you have to allow the divine timing to happen. You have to allow things to kind of take place in a particular order, and you can't rush it. You can't skip over things. And it's so important for this minor aspect not to treat it like a minor aspect, and to take that particular moment seriously, that moment in which you know that there's part of you that needs to be more responsible in some particular area, and you have to basically be the person who makes yourself do it because no one else is going to come along. And when that person does come, when there is an external force that that tries to put you in that position. It's going to be a lot more difficult if you hadn't prepared and if you hadn't, accepted the reality of the situation. So thank you guys for tuning into this one. For the next video, I want to ask which aspect we are going to vote on next. So stay tuned for that. That should be posted in about an hour.